Hi guys, it's James here from Centurion Running. I'm the race director for our events. I'm really sorry to have to be bringing you this video, but the time has come. We've had confirmation from the Forestry Commission this week that the national policy that they've had for some time of 30-person event limits is going to be maintained until the end of 2020. That means that any event that takes place on Forestry Commission land can have a maximum of 30 people at it, including staff and volunteers. Just to put that in perspective, we have over 30 staff and volunteers just for each of these races. So clearly we are having to come up with as many alternate plans as we can, or we simply just cancel the races. We do not want to cancel anything this year. For every reason, we want to give you guys as much of a chance as possible, those of you who want to do it, to race the course. So we've come up with a whole set of options that are pretty wide-ranging, but hopefully there'll be one to suit everybody. To begin with, whether you're in the 50 mile or the 50k, you'll be able to defer to 2021 or 2022 or cancel your entry for a 70% refund, no questions asked. So if you're really not sure and you don't really think you should or can run this year, you can't make the alternate dates, you don't want to do the virtual option, you can simply defer to 2021 or 2022 or cancel. If you do want to run the course this year, there are two other options available to you. You will be able, we are going to commit to trying to put on essentially 7 races in a row back to back. So we are going to say that we are going to start on 7 o'clock on Friday morning before the classic Saturday race day and organise a 50 mile event for 30 people. We're going to have the 50k on the Friday night. We're going to have the normal Saturday Wendover Woods 50 mile, albeit a slightly earlier start time of 7 o'clock. Then we'll have a normal Saturday night Wendover Woods 50k, albeit a later time of 10 p.m. and the same on Sunday, and then the final 50 mile on Monday. This might sound insanely complicated, it's really not. We're going to allow the Grand Slammers priority for the Saturday 50 mile event. Okay, so it just so happens that the number of people that we're anticipating being in the Grand Slam come 7 a.m. Saturday the 14th of November matches the event size limit that we're going to be permitted to proceed with. So if you're a Grand Slam runner for 2020 and completed the Chiltern Wonderland 50, you get priority to run the regular Wendover Woods 50 starting at 7 a.m. on Saturday the 14th of November. If you're a 50 mile entrant and not a Grand Slammer, we're giving you the option to choose Friday, Sunday or Monday to run the race instead. If you're a 50k runner, we're giving you the option of running Friday, Saturday or Sunday night. So we need you to indicate on the form which one of those you're most keen on. Now, if you do want to try and run one of these standard events, but much smaller field sizes than usual, there are substantial changes, 3 of them that I want to make you aware of. Firstly, the 50 milers will start at 7 a.m, not 9:30. The 50k events will start at 10 p.m, not 4:30. Okay, so we're talking earlier start time for the 50 mile and later start time for the 50k. The reason is the events have to be independent of one another. We can't overlap them. So that allows us to use the 24 hours in a day. That means a 15-hour cutoff for the 50 milers is still in place. It means that the 50k, the cutoff is now 9 hours, not 9 hours 30. We will be losing Hale Lane checkpoint for every race. Okay, so again, because of the size limit of the events, we just can't have a checkpoint down at Hale Lane. So you will be completing 10-mile loops with a cutoff of 3 hours for every event. Self-sufficient without that 5.5 mile checkpoint at Hale Lane. With your drop bag still at start finish, we feel that's more than achievable for you guys and girls. Hopefully that's not a deal breaker for you. Again, if it is, defer as an option. And lastly, obviously we've got to say no crew and spectators up at the field. We'll need to keep the 30-person event limit to 30 people. So those are the options to continue with the actual race this year. We need from the poll to get an indicator of which of you will choose those before we can say for sure that we're going ahead with any or all of those options. The other thing that we're tabling is the chance to do the race virtually. Okay, so if you choose not to do the race, but you don't want to defer and you want to do the race virtually, that's great. We're leaving a window for you to do that from the 9th of November through to the 29th of November. So a window of 3 weeks. You will need to complete the course that you've entered within that time. That means running 50 kilometers with 6,000 feet of elevation gain and descent within 9 hours for the 50k runners, and 50 miles with 10,000 feet of climb and descent within 15 hours for the 50 milers. Okay. If you want to, you can still do that on the Wendover course. We've arranged with the owners of the field to put a combination lock on the field for the duration of those 3 weeks that only you as virtual runners will have access to, and you will be able to park and crew yourselves from your vehicles essentially at the end of each lap. Okay, the course won't be marked. There'll be no other infrastructure provided. You'll simply run it off your own back, and you will enter your details in the same kind of page that we had for our One Community event back in May. You'll put in your name, your bib number, your finish time, and a link to your GPX. You must use a GPX to prove that you've completed the course and within the time and with the elevation gain and descent. If you do that, we will then send you your awards and you'll be included in the results list. Okay. You will also, if you choose the virtual option, get a guaranteed entry for 2021 at 50% discount, because obviously you're not getting the full Centurion race experience. Now, that's probably as much detail as I can give you. I realise some of you will probably just be thinking, oh my God, there's so many options here. It's really confusing. Take the time to read the email carefully. Remember, you can always choose to defer or cancel if you're not happy with either running the race on an alternate date potentially or doing it virtually. But we believe we want to give you as many options as possible, because some of you will only be able to or have a preference to do something out of that list. So there's, hopefully covering as many bases as we can and lessening the disappointment for as many of you as possible. We're going to ask you to indicate your preference as per the email in time for this Friday. So that's the 9th of October, at which point we'll shut the form off. We'll go away and look at the responses and then come back to you with an email next week, so the week of the 12th of October, saying, okay guys, these are the hard and fast options that you now need to pick, and your decision will be then cast in stone, and we won't obviously be able to allow any changes past next week, because we need to prepare and arrange the events in a usual way. So all you're doing at the moment is indicating what you would like to likely choose. We won't hold you to that. In fact, we're not even taking your name. We're just asking you to fill it in as a preference. And then next week, we'll be asking you to outline what your firm decision is. If you choose to cancel at that point, fine, no worries. If you choose to defer at that point, fine, no worries. But you won't then be able to opt back into one of the other options. Similarly, if you choose the virtual option or the race day option, again, we won't be able to switch you at that point. So by the end of next week, with 4 weeks to go until race day, we will have our start list for our various events, the virtual start list, and those who are deferring or cancelling. Thank you for listening. If any of you have questions, and I'm sure some of you do, please email us. Just to say, obviously, this is the worst possible outcome for us. To not be able to do the event in the normal way is awful, unprecedented. It's completely out of our hands, and I hope that you guys can see that we are doing everything we can to allow as many of you as possible who want to continue to run this race or these races with us in 2020 a chance to do that. But if not, they will be here again next year, and the dates for those are up on the website now. Thanks everybody. Cheers.